Hi, this is Myra with Boutique Paint. We're working on a pumpkin today, and as you can see, we're not doing traditional colors. This was a pumpkin that I bought into season a couple of years ago, but you can get them from Michael's, you can get them from all different sources, but they come in black, they come of course in orange, they come in ivory. It doesn't matter what color you get because we're painting it. So I went ahead and painted this, the bottom part, just so that you wouldn't have to sit here and watch me paint. But I used a chip brush, and then I used DIY's Farm Fresh on this. And what I want to do next is I want to add some leaves to the top of this. So use the Hello Pumpkin leaves. We always put cornstarch in when we're using the DIY air dry clay. You do not need to put this in if you are using resin. Do not put cornstarch in if you're using resin. We get that question quite often, and the resin will just release on its own. You don't need to help it. So I'm just going to kind of do a bunch of these, and then we'll see what we want it to look like. We're going to get some DIY clay here. Just get it pushed in there. And just use your finger and remove the excess. You can also use a tool if you want to. Now what I want to do is I want to go in here, and as you probably noticed, I did put the cornstarch in here. So what I want to do is I want to do some of these, because these have got the curly cues and they've got some fun stuff. They're not as deep of a relief, but we're going to attempt to kind of get the gist of them. And so we're not going to put clay in the entire pumpkin mold. I'm just kind of get it in here where this is. But you're just going to put the clay in there just like you would these leaves. And then just try to clean up the sides a little bit so that you're not just filling in the pumpkin. Go ahead and pull those, and they look lovely. We're just kind of rocking them. I'm not sure that the scrolls will pull off here the way I want them to. Just kind of get your fingernail in there, or a tool. Yeah, those aren't gonna come out very easily. And then we're going to get some glue, and I'm just using tacky glue. And I'm going to put the flat ones down first. We're just going to glue right onto that. Then I want to just kind of start building it up off of that. So I'm going to then add the molds on top of the other molds. Bring this one in. And you just got to play with it and see what you like. There is no really perfect placement, so to speak. There we go. So I thought it might be fun to add some of the oak leaves and acorns to this, because like this branch here is kind of fun. This branch here is a lot of fun where it has the acorns incorporated. So I'm going to go ahead and do a few of those just to kind of play with it, see how it looks. Okay, we're looking a little bit like a hot mess right now. That's okay, it's part of the process. So next what I want to do is I want to pick a couple colors, and I'm going to be using Summer Crush and Queen Bee DIY. And I've got a couple of brushes here. And I'm also going to be using Prairie Gray. And that's going to be for the acorns. Come up here and start painting. And I'm not going to do the entire leaf, just the Summer Crush. I'm going to add and try to do a little bit of transitioning with the Queen Bee. So I need another brush. Yeah, that's a little thick. Add a little water to it. All right, I'm just going to put a little bit on that, and then I'm going to take a third brush. But I think I'm going to really spray this brush tip down so that I can kind of blend these a little bit. Want a little bit more of the orange on there. There we go. That's starting to look like how I want it to. This is just kind of the fun part where you can sit there, one of those TV projects I always talk about. You can sit there and watch some cute fall shows, whatever your liking is, and sit here and play and paint. And if you put the whole thing on a cookie sheet, I know that this is a problem because I've been talking to one of my customers, and she says every time she gets out her project, she then has to clean it up. And then I think it's a little frustrating. I think it's frustrating for all of us because, of course, we don't necessarily want the craft stuff out all the time when we're not working on it. We want to pick it up, but not pick it up. So put it on a cookie sheet or a board, piece of wood, put some wax paper down and put your paints on it, put your project on it, your molds, and then at the end, when you're ready to kind of pick up and move it, you can pick up the whole thing all at once and move it. And it's not as painful then as picking up, you know, the whole project and trying to move it someplace that it'll be out of the way. Okay, so now we're to the acorns, and I'm going to do the leaves the same as I've done the pumpkin leaves. I think I'll reverse it a little bit though. I'm going to do the yellow up top, because for the most part I've been doing the orange up top. Then I'm going to add a little bit of the orange. I'm going to spray my brush again so I can mix these colors. I like my brush to be fairly damp. It just kind of, especially since you have the clay, which is sucking up moisture because it's starting to dry out, but it's you know, trying to stay wet. So it's sucking in some of the moisture of the paint. So if you spray your brushes as you go, you're going to be able to mix your colors a little bit better. Don't forget to get like the sides of your pieces to any of the little white pieces that are showing. Let's go ahead and get that painted brown. I'm going to grab another paintbrush. Okay, I sprayed this brush, and I'm going to put a little prairie gray on there, which is actually more of a brown. I don't know if you noticed there was a little bit of orange there, and I'm going to work with that a little bit and just kind of see what comes up. So it'll probably make it look like it's a little shadowy. And I want it really dark or darker through the top of the acorn. I think just a smidge of orange. Just be creative. Just come up with what you want. Because the pumpkin is not an orange pumpkin or, you know, maybe a more traditional color of pumpkin, it really gives you creative liberties to your color palette. You don't have to do orange and yellow leaves. You certainly could do green leaves. But do whatever color combination feels right to you. Want some orange. So now that I've got most of this covered, I will go back and do some touch-up because I still see some white. But I'm going to take a brush. I got a little bit too much paint on there. You're just going to carefully go around and fill in around the leaves and the acorns with the blue or whatever your base color is. So this is the next day, and I just wanted to show that there was shrinkage, and so you can see some of the white coming through. So what I'm doing is I'm just going along and touching up the blue down below with a small brush because there's shrinkage around all of the molds, and just kind of doing touch up. You do this anyway. So, and then I couldn't decide if I wanted to do the blue on top or the orange. I'm tending more towards the orange, so I think that's what we're going to do. So this is our finished product. You can see I did do a little bit of bringing the stem down into the pumpkin. So next week we will have our 2024 holiday release. Very exciting for IOD. And so join us to see what the new products are. Thanks for joining me today. Bye.